Anonymous Watch Guy here with a full review video. Quick wrist check. Wearing the brand new yellow dial Seiko 5KX GMT. Big fan of that watch. But today I have for a full review a watch that I unboxed on the channel a week or so ago from local micro brand Fleddermann von Rieste. This one is now available for pre-order. I will leave a link in the description of the video to go check out the website and pick this one up. Delivery in December, so just a few months away. You can have this one in time for the holidays. This, of course, is the Hanoverian. This is the integrated bracelet sports tool watch from Fleddermann von Rieste. Really enjoyed my time with this watch. I definitely think it is a winner. Let's take a look at the specifications on it once again. It is a 41 millimeter watch. Again, your integrated bracelet design, but it is 22 millimeters up here at the top of the bracelet. It does taper down to 20 at the butterfly clasp. You do have a push-pull crown here at the 3 o'clock position that is signed with the Fleddermann von Rieste logo. It does still give you 150 meters water resistance, so you don't have to worry about getting this one a little wet. It's a great everyday watch, so that water resistance definitely helps with that. The website, again, says 11 millimeters thick. I took a measurement from the Hanoverian horse on the back of the watch to the top of the crystal and came up with 10.7. Off of the horse, it's 10.2, so it's a little bit thinner than the 11 millimeters. So it's definitely a very slim looking, a very slim watch. You've got a 48 millimeter lug tip to lug tip on this one, which is great for an integrated bracelet sports watch. It makes it very wearable. We will talk about that in a comparison of some other integrated bracelet watches I've got back there at the end of the video. But a very wearable lug to lug on this one, and that's due to this female end link. That bracelet just drops straight off the side of the case. Really great design, really good job by Fleddermann von Rieste on doing that. This does have a sapphire crystal. So you've got a sapphire crystal there. Looks great. Gives you a great shot of that brushed dial. This is the charcoal gray version, and it looks absolutely fantastic. This is running the Miyota 9015 movement. So you've got a high beat automatic movement, 28,800 beats per hour, 24 joules, 42 hours power reserve. You've got a really rock-solid movement in this one. You also do have BGW9 Swiss Lume. We'll check out the Lume later in the video. You do have applied indices at each one of your hour markers. You've got your double baton up there at the 12 o'clock position and singles at every other position. You've got an applied Fleddermann von Rieste logo there beneath the 12 o'clock position. And then the branding just beneath that. You've got kind of a sword style handset, a swordish style handset that is done in high polish that does feature Lume. And then that beautiful baby blue seconds hand looks really good against that charcoal gray dial. You've got your Hanoverian branding there above the 6 o'clock position and a framed in silver date window, your date complication there just above the 6 as well. Very clean looking dial. I like this gray color, and if you can get a good shot of it here, you've got a kind of a vertical brushing on that dial. I think it is very nicely done. Looks really good. This does come in several other colors. I really do like this gray color and the contrast with that blue seconds hand. I think it looks really good. You've got a mixture of finishes on this watch, mostly high polish. You've got the sides or your tops of your lugs. Very angular case design here. A very tool watch aesthetic. I'm definitely a fan of the angular look to the case. You've got some high polish on the case. You've got some brushing on the sides of the case. So you've definitely got a good mixture of finishes on the case of the watch here. Gives you some nice light play, solid brushing on the side of the case, and some nice high polish again on the top of your lugs there. A very thin, not really a bezel on this one, but a very thin case on the top here. Gives you a large dial. It gives you a lot of wrist presence. Not really a bezel on this one again. So this watch gives you a lot of wrist presence. It looks larger on wrist, but the fact that you've got that shorter lug to lug, it wears fantastic, and it's going to work for some smaller wrists that maybe other integrated bracelet sports watches would not work for because of that shorter lug to lug. You do have an H-Link style bracelet that has some very nice light play. Really like the light play on this bracelet. I think it's very well done. It is sized with pins and collars. Very secure bracelet, not jingly at all. Very nicely done. I did size it. You do have some smaller links down here at the clasp. I did size it, and it does fit me very nicely. Standard twin trigger butterfly deployant. And then on the back, you have your Hanoverian horse, Fleddermann von Rieste, your water resistance, and stainless steel, as it is all 316L stainless steel. You notice it does say 10 ATM on the back. This is a prototype. Essentially, it will have 150 meters water resistance. It has been tested to that. These are all assembled here in Indiana up at Kokomo Watch Company by expert watchmakers. So you've got that. You've got some high quality materials on this watch. Very nicely done, very nicely finished. A very tool watch aesthetic. I definitely like the overall look and design of the watch. And I think for the price, the full retail price is $799 USD. I have my code AWG10 to give you 10% off. That brings it right in line with the price of the Tissot PRX. And I think it compares very favorably to that watch. So let's take a look at the lume on the watch. We'll take a look at what it looks like on my 7.5-inch wrist. And then we're going to look at it in comparison to some other integrated bracelet watches that you see back there on the table. Here is your lume on the watch. You can see it is very nicely done. You've got a really solid glow. Looks a little more greenish through the lens than it does in person. Again, BGW9 typically has a bluish glow. But you do have a very solid application of lume on the handset as well as the indices, and it appears to last a pretty good time. Nice job on the lume on this one. Here's the watch on my 7.5-inch wrist. You can see it wears very nicely. You've got some really nice light play on that bracelet, as well on the angular designs of the case. Solid wrist presence, that gray dial just looks fantastic. In the light, I think it looks really good on wrist, very comfortable on wrist. Again, I got a really nice fit on the bracelet on mine. Well, it's not mine, but on this watch that I have borrowed. You can see the lug to lug here. You've got plenty of space on my wrist. This will work on a smaller wrist and just looks great on wrist. The Fleddermann von Rieste Hanoverian. Let's take a look at it compared to some other integrated bracelet sports watches. So on the table here I have a Citizen Soyosa, I have a Tissot PRX, and I have a Dumero DM01. Now, all of these watches are smaller than the Fleddermann von Rieste as far as your size across the case here. The Dumero is a 39 millimeter watch, and both the Tissot and the Citizen are 40 millimeter watches. And you can see the difference in presence of the dial. You can tell that the Fleddermann von Rieste gives you much more wrist presence, and it looks like a larger watch. And in a lot of ways, it is a larger watch, but in one key area, it is smaller. And that makes it very much more wearable than some other integrated bracelet sports watches. Now, this Citizen, your measurement lug to lug on these integrated bracelet watches, if you just measure the case itself, you're going to get a different measurement than the true lug to lug, which really is all the way out here at the end of this first link. So on this Citizen, it is just under 50 millimeters. The same on the Dumero. Again, you could see how this much larger this is here with this extension for the bracelet. It is also just under 50 millimeters. And then your Tissot, your case ends here. This piece of the bracelet sticks all the way out here. This is 51.5 millimeters lug to lug on this one. So if you compare that to the Fleddermann von Rieste, you can see how much longer the Tissot is with that additional real estate out there. This watch appears to be the Fleddermann von Rieste. Again, appears to be a much larger watch. When you look at it, you think, oh my gosh, that watch is definitely bigger than the Tissot PRX, and it's going to present larger on wrist because it has a larger dial. You've got more real estate on the dial there. But in a very key measurement on wearability, on your true lug to lug, due to this having the female end links, your true lug to lug on the Fleddermann von Rieste is about 3.5 millimeters shorter than the Tissot PRX. So if you have a little bit of a smaller wrist and you're worried about that on this Fleddermann von Rieste, I can put your concerns to rest. This is going to work for you. This female end link bracelet and the fact that it drops straight down makes this watch very wearable, makes it very comfortable on wrist. And I think that in conjunction with all of the other cool things with this watch, that great looking brushed charcoal dial, the color, solid lume, solid finishing, it's definitely a winner. The Fleddermann von Rieste Hanoverian, available for pre-order right now. Definitely go check it out. I'll leave a link in the description of the video. If you like the video, give me a like, maybe subscribe to the channel. Thanks for watching.